Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Przemyslaw Andrzej Jankowski. I'm from Poland. Now I am working at Forest Research Institute in Madrid. And a few months ago, I've just started my doctoral thesis, which is part of a bigger European program within Marie Curie Skłodowska Skill for Action. And one of colleagues present here is a member of this program too. And today I would like to share with you overall idea of my doctoral thesis and to share little results which we have until this moment. So the main question which we are planted in my doctoral thesis is if the trees respond different to drought stress in mixed comparing to pure stands. My coordinator is Dr. Marta Pardos from INEA, and my co-director is Dr. Rafael Calamo from INEA too. How we will answer the question about drought response of the trees? Well, we will implement 4 steps approach. The first approach will consist in take physiological measurements of the trees in 2 consecutive years during the growing season, and we will focus on the intrinsic water use efficiency and carbohydrates flow. And I would like to point that we will compare all the results from all the approaches between pure and mixed stands. This is the main idea. The second approach will consist in measure the quantity of isotopes of carbon and oxygen in tree rings. The third will consist in compare the dynamic of growth of diameter within a year, so it will be intra-annual approach. And the fourth approach will consist to check inter-annual growth response to drought stress of the trees. And this is the step which I would like to present you more precisely today, as we are working about it right now. So we established 8 plots in El Carrascal forest, which is situated in Valladolid province in Castilla y León community in central Spain. The climate of the site is typical Mediterranean continental climate with large amplitudes of temperature. So there are hot summers and quite cold winters. The precipitation varies a lot during the year from 200 millimeters to 600 millimeters, and most part of the precipitation is falling during winter months from October to March. The soils on the site are very poor soils, incepti soils with low water capacity of about 180 millimeters. And we will focus our research on 4 Mediterranean species, which are Pinus pinea, Pinus pinaster, Juniperus turifera, and Quercus ilex. And in the graph you can see just the position of the plots that we established until now. The area of the forest is about 1,500 hectares. In this photo you can see pure Pinus pinea stand in El Carrascal forest, you can make an idea of how the forest is. What is the main objective of the 4th step in the doctoral thesis? So we want to check if the drought response measured as basal area increment is different in trees that are growing in mixed comparing to pure stands, and how we will measure the drought response. As I said, we will use basal area increment, but we will compute Lloret ecological indices. And those indices are quite simple. The idea is to select pointer years when drought occurred, take basal area increment from these years, and compute the ratio of, for example, if you want to have a recovery index of a tree, we will compute the ratio between basal area increment after the drought compared to the basal area increment before the drought. So we have three hypotheses on this research. The first hypothesis is quite simple, but it is fundamental. It says that, growth of the trees is affected by drought events along various years. I want to point out that we check inter-annual response of the trees in this topic. The second hypothesis says that not only basal area increment is affected by drought stress, but that the reduction of growth is mediated by the fact that a tree grows in mixed stands. And we assume that maybe it will occur complementarity process in mixed stands between three species. And the third hypothesis says that competition between trees, such between trees from the same species and competition between individuals of different species affects the drought response significantly. So what measures do we take on the plots? Just basic dendrometric things as diameter at breeze height. We only measure trees which are bigger than 7 centimeters. We measure height of all the trees, and also we take measures of distance from the center to the tree and of the azimuth to later compute the coordinates of the trees and to calculate the area overlap indices. What more, we extract 2 increment cores per tree, and we core 40 trees per species on each plot. In the table here, you can see main stand characteristics. Sorry. So we just want to know the number of stems per hectare, just basic characteristics. The basal area, quadratic diameter and height. And what is obvious for Spanish people is that the basal area of Pinus piñat, Pinus pinaster is the highest. Sorry, it will be later. But you can see here that basal area on mixed plots is the highest basal area except the plot of Pinus pinaster. So how do we will measure the competition between trees? We will use a simple index, area overlap index, and it is a function of just diameter of subject tree and of its competitor, and it's a function of the distance between 2 trees. And what is important, we do not need to take measures of the crown, for example, and it saves us our time in the field work. The area overlap index is the ratio between the zone. So first of all, we compute zone area for each tree, and is the area on which a tree competes with another trees. And area overlap index is the ratio between the zone overlap between 2 trees to zone area of the of the subject tree, and is weighted by the ratio of diameter of subject tree to the diameter of the competitor tree. We assume that there is a competition effect just not only above ground and below ground too. And in the next slides you will see just the the graphs with position of the trees and with computed area overlap indices. What is important to see is just to notice that Quercus ilex suffers more from competition, from, for example, Pinus pinna, as is in the lower canopy layer. It is impossible to draw any conclusions right now. It's a preliminary phase of the research, and we have a lot of more work to do in the field, and we are going to the field in the next week. So thank you so much for your attention, and thank you for the possibility to present our results until now. Thank you so much.